Cleveland's Smooth FM is 107.3 WNWV and WNWV HD, Elyria, Cleveland.
Hey YouTube, what's going on? Mark here at TGIF, and I apologize in advance for not providing you any content from tonight's Winn-Dixie Firecracker 250 at the Daytona International Speedway, because I was so excited for that race that while I was playing the waiting game and getting my YouTube fix on, my dumbass fell asleep like a bozo, and by the time I woke up it was way too late. So I guess we'll try it again tomorrow night for the Pepsi Firecracker 400 at Daytona in Winston Cup, because I was falling asleep waiting for the Busch Grand Extras to come on. That caused us to miss that particular race, but it'll be after we pre-record Jeremy Barley's College Farewell Tour episode, which will be the 8th episode, the Dale Jr. installment, which will also count as the 2024 finale, which I will schedule for Sunday upload, which we'll just record whatever TikTok video we want on Sunday in the neighborhood, and then Monday the 26th, we're gonna upload a College Farewell Tour, not exactly mini, but you know what I mean, quote unquote mini movie, where every episode is mashed together and is like a whole movie. And then the 27th, we're going to get kicked out of Applebee's in honor of my mom's birthday. Then the 28th and the 29th will be the true, free-for-all dates of whatever we want to record. But now the elephant of the room, I want to address this one thing that I've been putting off for the longest time, ever since I had to reschedule it. I think it was earlier this week, I believe. Yeah, I think I fell asleep when I fell asleep Monday, something like that. Yeah, and then some Spurs news involved in terms of the media. So let me address this one thing I've been meaning to get out of the way, and then we'll talk about the Spurs news. So, as you know, if 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, almost over 2 weeks ago, when we were getting our redemption from that 2021 failed attempt recording that birthday tribute for Kensington Tallman, Destiny Hernandez, Chris Peterson, Albert Sign, and this year's, new recipient, considering Roger speaking, when we were doing the original attempt back in 2021, we did not know her yet. This year she was added to the mix to give us the double the redemption. Destiny Hernandez, we had a big storm go through a majority of Northeast Ohio, and if you remember the day after the storm, in the following days after that, well, first I'll get to the following day after the storm in a little bit, but in the following days after the storm, we had some Sandy Ridge outsiders, friends we haven't seen in a long time, or friends that don't come around as much, come over to family members and friends' houses, to stay with them until they got power back at their own house. Well, now that that's finally over with, and that has been put to bed, I can finally come on here and talk about it, but I'm only going to talk about one thing. But in the first day that, after the storm, me, Peyton Baker, Sienna Troyer, and the crew, we had a Sandy Ridge Demo Derby shit show with strollers of all things. One kid, Palmer, was, not giving a shit and not even phased when we were pushing her around in the stroller, around the Nest bike oval really, really fast, and she was having fun and not even saying anything. While May, the Jarrett's youngest, she was screaming bloody murder like she was dying. Oh my God, it was not a smart thing for them to do or anything, but it was still a fun night nonetheless. I think it was still during the time my grandmother was still in the hospital. That 1 week that that she was gone. I think this was my sister had just left town shortly after the storm happened, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, while we were recording that birthday tribute, there was a big storm went through, and luckily we got little to nothing here in Ridgeville. So luckily in Sandy Ridge we got lucky. The lights flickered, but that was it. And Grill Bomber, the star of Tuesday night, when it first started, he was already outside with some of his family, his siblings, Hudson and them, Hattie. Well, apparently, and he was running back. I think their babysitter McKenna was still at their house. He saw that our garbage cans were to going for a ride, because not just the high precipitation, but the heavy sped up winds. So he went out there in the middle of the monsoon, and it was nice enough to because our garage doors were already open because my mom was hiding her car that way it wouldn't get like negatively affected. He put our garbage cans in the garage that way they wouldn't blow away, which was very nice of him. So therefore, and I repaid the favor by coming to support him at his football game, where I also supported his cousin Quinn Melvin, my best friend Ronnie Dunlap, and who I should have been supporting but didn't know to the fact he was on the team. Brenner Haska, the little brother of one of my best friends, Austin Haska. So therefore, they did a hell of a job Tuesday night, but we already crossed that bridge. So we're just circling back to the one of the few bridges that came before that to kick off the last full month of season 4 of Fun in the Sun, aka the 2024 Sandy Ridge Redemption. So therefore, that was nice of Braxton to do that. The Girl Bomber. I got the birthday tribute edited, upload, and right as that I was doing that, and I was finally uploading that. I'll get to what I'm mainly here to talk about in a moment. So, therefore, I talked about the garbage cans that Girl Bomber helped, save. I talked about the Demo Derby shit show with Peyton Sienna, Kennedy, Hattie, May, and Palmer. I talked about that, and a little bit of Hudson, and Hudson too. Wasn't Sergeant Carter there? I don't think I remember if he was, but so much was going on that day. It's like, wow. And, there was something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah, and while the storm was going on, we were getting ready for my grandmother to come home from the hospital. That was the third thing. We were getting ready for my grandmother to come home from the hospital. If we can say, because we were, making the first moves of rearranging the house and making it look nice and cleaning up, certain, portions that to make room for new stuff that we can put on display. When season 4 of Adventures in Autumn and Winter Wonderland starts in the weeks to come, that thing over there is going to look, this section over there is going to look a hell of a lot nicer. We're going to put in Richard Childress Racing, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated shelf up, and some of the die-casts I'm planning to put on the shelf is sitting right below the space where I'm pointing at. You can't see my arm and my pointing finger from here, but you know what I mean. So we were rearranging, making the first moves to rearrange the house and flip-flop where my mom and grandmother were, and mom and grandparents were on the main floor. Where my grandparents used to be always where my mom's at now. The little front room we call the living room, and the middle room where my mom used to be is the family room is where my grandparents are at. So when my grandmother starts feeling at least 75% to 90% better, I know she's not going to be perfect, but she's going to be a hell of a lot better than she was prior to even the first hospital trip on Anna Grace Barlow's Jeff Green 30th birthday. So you want to take a look at Anna Grace Barlow's birthday tribute and the 2021 birthday tribute. I mean, not the 2021, but the Redemption birthday tribute for Kensington, Destiny, Chris, Stephanie, and Albert. Was it Kensington, Destiny, Chris, Stephanie, and Albert? We want to look at that and the description. So that was the storm is when we recorded this. So I was putting stuff in the basement. We were putting stuff on the morning room table at least until we were ready to put it in a place where it really needed to be. So yeah, we had a lot going on in the house. But the elephant of the room. Okay, so as you all know, I used to live in a house in Brook Park in a neighborhood called Sandhurst, which is I spent just about my entire life in that house with my grandparents living in it and myself living in it, and even when my grandparents lived in it. Even though I lived in Michigan in the Lenore house and including a whole season in Mexico, August of 01 to June of 02, I put more of my eggs in the Sandhurst basket than the Lenore basket. I spent more time in the Sandhurst house despite having 10 full years on Lenore for ourselves. So it was no even balance whatsoever. I mean, it was a little bit, but Sandhurst got the bigger half because we always kept going to visit Ohio more than my grandparents would come out to visit Michigan. So because we had no family in Michigan, keep that in mind. They were all in Ohio. Only reason why we moved to Michigan with no choice by default was because my dad's then current job in 1999-2000, Johnson Controls, a company that used to make car seats for automobiles, transferred us from Cleveland, where he worked in Strongsville, to Detroit. So therefore, I'm not gonna talk about my dad's work history. All I know is he's retiring on Halloween this year, so that would be it's a perfect day to retire. Or hopefully me and my girlfriend will be going out as Pat Sajak and Vanna White. But I'll have more details on that in the weeks and 2 months to come before Halloween starts. But yeah, so we spent time in that house almost our entire life, even before me and my sister. And The only reason why my dad's relatives were in that house because they're oldish, marrying, my mom, whose parents were the main owners of the house, the staple of that house. And so over by my old house, in my old childhood city, they got hit the most, more than any other city, even more than the other cities that got affected big time. Brook Park was affected the most. Now, does it sound biased on my part? Maybe, but I don't think I've seen anybody with more damage than Brook Park. And the reason why this is a big deal to me, besides the fact that I lived there, I grew up there almost my entire life, is because during my time in that house, let alone that city, in that area, Northeast Ohio, let alone when we lived in Michigan, the area we lived in Michigan was not known for getting gigantic sized tornadoes. Like Brook Park was not known for that. Even Ridgeville here in Ridgeville's not known for that. So we got lucky that streak continued, but unfortunately, 9 years after we left Brook Park, that streak came to an end. I don't know about my old house and the people who replaced us in there, who we met during the docuseries the last summer. If you want to go look at that too, link in the description. I hope they didn't get affected, their lights didn't go up, but I know my old neighbors next door to them that are still there, thankfully, so God bless them, hope they're doing well. Ann and Steve, I think maybe the power went out, but that's it, no major damage. So I'm guessing my old house, where the people who replaced us in it now, or people who are in it now that replaced us, they probably lost power, but hopefully no damage. So I'm hoping that's the case. So we're only gonna the only way to find out is next year for season 5 of Fun in the Sun, come the week after 4th of July, like it is every single year since the very beginning, day one. So when we record episodes of the documentary called Sandhurst Stories, so therefore that's the only way we're gonna find out. So, but the fact that the big city got affected big time. There was branches broken, tree everywhere, all over the place. There was trees knocked to the ground. I mean, a lot of places a lot of stuff got damaged, including some buildings. The thing, when my dad and I did a Brook Park drive-by last time, went to get haircuts with cousin Kenny. We saw a bunch of branches on the ground and in the yard, in the people's yards and lawns, getting ready to get taken away by the garbage men when the time the new week started on following Monday. My dad was so surprised, but I try not to get leftover damage in the footage because keep in mind this Brook Park storm was not part of the script of the Sandhurst Stories documentary. The part 1 of the epilogue will be the 2015 to 2019 non-COVID years that I left. The year that I left, the time during the times I was gone. The years I was gone and was coming back to visit once a year after I left. The year I left, the last non-COVID year, the second part of the epilogue will be the docu-series, and that's going to be it. The storm is not part of the script. That's why I'm making this separate video to tell everybody what the hell happened and to clarify I am not adding this to the script only because mostly because we didn't go this year which would have been the day after Emma Bachman's grad party. You want to go look at that link in the description. I'll have to remember to put all this in the description of the video. So my dad was so surprised. I was trying to keep, the damage out of the drive-by just so people wouldn't get suspicious and indicate what the hell happened. Why is this in the documentary? And I don't think this is part of the script. And that's the point. That's the point as to why I was trying not to capture leftover storm damage. But probably the biggest thing that got affected, because besides some houses, luckily nowhere near my old house, was down the street from my old house where the home days normally is at. The Brook Park wreck got roof damage, so therefore it's a big mess in that parking lot to the point where we're cleaning up debris and leaving it for people, the garbage men and construction workers to take with them, to inspect the damage. Well, let me say this. It's a good thing we moved out of there 9 years ago, because in an alternate universe, we stayed 9 years longer. All the 9 years we spent in Ridgeville in this actual reality, our alternate universe, we spent 9 years a little longer on Sandhurst and never moved to Ridgeville till after the storm. Guess what? I mean, to be fair, we were part of the storm, but we were not part of the included in the really, really bad part. So had we stayed on Sandhurst 9 years longer, guess what? We would have been right in the middle of the really, really bad parts of the storm. So we made the right call 9 years ago, moving to Ridgeville, considering that we were nowhere near the really, really bad parts of the storm. We would have been right in the middle of one of the worst parts, if anything, if we would have stayed in Brook Park on Sandhurst 9 years longer. And get this, a little fun fact is that that's not the first time it's that we had a big storm in Brook Park, because even when I lived there, we had big storms like that for 3 seasons in a row, but it was never egregious as that where a tornado was included. So the first year, at the end of my sophomore year at Berea High, this was after the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame trip with the Oliveris boys on my dad's side. The week before the Coke 600, I believe. I think it was after the Winston All-Star race and the Hall of Fame trip. This was the season we had a fortune where Charlie O'Donnell passed. We lost power because of a big storm. Not long after I beat Crash of the Titans on PS2 with the bad cold. And then later in 2011, going when it was started my junior year, the same season I started my TV life eventually changed. Come February 2012 when I was started with Victoria Justice, Daniela Monnet, and Rob Riggle on Nickelodeon Victorious. August 2011, the week of the Sharpie 500 at Bristol, we had a storm too and locked everything out. And then the next season, come 2012, this didn't take place in 2012 till Halloween weekend, which is why Halloween was moved to, the first weekend of November, which I had to, miss the second half of the Dickies 500 at Texas Motor Speedway in order to, fulfill my original Halloween plans that were, initially set for October 31st, which is why I missed the Spurs season opener against the Thunder when Tony Parker had that game winner and the Duncan, dunked on Ibaka for the second time in within a span of a few months, considering he already did that in the playoffs, the previous, months earlier in 2012 at the end of the 2011-2012 season, because this was beginning of 2012-13, keep in mind, when I figured out 107.3 The Wave eventually came back, which was the year before, but I knew nothing about the next year. So anyway, we had a big storm in October 2012, the weekend of Halloween, which is why they had to wait till the power came back on November 5th, I believe it was, November 4th, something like that, to hold trick-or-treating festivities in Brook Park. So eventually, come the 2013-2014 season, we stopped the bleeding and we didn't get a storm. Thankfully, we're not going to no power outages and storms in 2013-14. It was all the blue skies and sunshine and green grass. So therefore, 13-14 at least, considering if they didn't give us proper closure and us living there of the home days, at least they gave us proper closure by not giving us a storm to deal with in the last full year I lived there in 13-14. So it was all good. So now we talk about, the other headline when it comes to, hold on, this team, the San Antonio Spurs, but not on the team itself, but in the TV broadcast booth.
You know me as TV voice of the San Antonio Spurs, but you might not know I'm also a diehard Connecticut fan. We had a Connecticut water softener system installed. Now our sinks and showers are spotless, our skin and hair are softer, our dishes sparkle, and our appliances will last years longer too. Our Connecticut system is a game changer, and now my whole family's drinking more water. Visit ConnecticutSA.com for your free in-home water test.
ConnecticutSA.com.
So, the news broke on Wednesday while I was at work, and, most of my coworkers at Jamie's Flea Market. Originally, I was going to go in case, my best friend who I ran into at the Corn Fest for the first time in years, Oksana Zerfus, was there with her family. I know, her parents were there, but I was unlikely Oksana was going to be there. I originally was going to go for that reason, but I was still so exhausted from almost said baseball game, the football game the night before, that I changed my mind. I decided I wanted to rest at work, but not in the form of sleep, and I just wanted to sit down and rest my legs and stuff. So therefore, I was on a different app at one point. Darla, we were chilling in my classroom. So I get back on Facebook, and the first thing that pops up is the Spurs play-by-play commentator that I was lucky enough to meet in 2014, and when the Spurs played the Cavs here in Ohio, when I actually went home sick early that day, but my dad and I were already committed to going to the Spurs play the Cavs, even though I was sicker than a dog, so we went to see them anyway, and it was awkward feeling like shit and cheering for the team at the same time, because I wasn't able to feel that semi-speed, but the same energetic stuff as it normally would be when I saw, during the time Duncan was still on team, Duncan Spurs, play a lottery team Cavs when LeBron was in Miami, lighting it up like Lizzie Green and with the Heat in South Beach. Well, Bill Land, who was a 21-year Spurs play-by-play commentator on Fox Sports Southwest, unfortunately, announced his retirement on Wednesday, which broke my heart. I didn't get to post until today because I was having trouble finding the picture when I needed it on Wednesday. So, therefore, I was fortunate to meet him that night before this happened, and Therefore, I was able to, communicate with him a few times on Twitter, on my old account, and on Facebook, even though we never been friends on there. He did comment on my status in was it the 2018 or 2019 version of the Spurs Cast here in Ohio, where he's like, I'm sorry we didn't get to visit Mark, but thanks for always being a loyal supporter of the Spurs and our me and Sean on South Fox Southwest. Go Spurs go, which really nice guy. I mean, it's not going to be the same on South Fox Southwest without his "Oh Mama" catchphrase, or like the variant of "Oh Mama Wembenyama." Sure as hell won't be the same, but I'm sure Dan Weiss or Matt Bonner, whoever's going to replace him, is going to do a great job filling his shoes. Even though neither one of those guys will ever be another Bill Land himself, but they can be like their own character about filling his shoes. So therefore, he had a great career. I think he started in 2003, 2004 after Joel Myers, originally the Spurs commentator before Bill Land, left to go call Kobe's game, and now he's calling the Zion Williamson's games. And even before Zion Williamson, when Anthony Davis was there, he was calling Anthony Davis's games when that guy was on the Pelicans. So therefore, just to show how much a lot can change over the years, when all the people you grew up watching, not just as a kid in the team, but even as an adult, are now going away. And considering, to be fair, he did have a rare form of blood cancer, so that probably had a lot to do with him retiring. I knew something was coming one way or another when I saw he wasn't commentating too many road games anymore. I was probably an indicator he was going to retire sooner than later. I was hoping it wouldn't be true, but I guess it was too good to be true. But anyway, I get it. It's part of life. But at the same time, if you grew up with the same people as a kid, a teen, and even as an adult, it's never easy when they leave. Like when they go away, so good capacity, if they retire or pass away or move on to a different, setting or an adventure. So while we will miss Bill Land very, very much, I will most definitely let his "Oh Mama" catchphrase live on no matter where I go, especially in an exciting moment, whether it be in basketball alone or exciting moments in life in general. So therefore, best of luck in your retirement, Bill Land, and much love to you as always. Enjoy, doing whatever you want with the rest of your life, as far as free time goes, doing whatever you want until, I hate to say it, till the day when you pass on, which that will be a sad day, and I'm gonna be really, really sad. So anyway, that'll do it for me for tonight. Tomorrow we pre-record Jeremy Barley's college farewell tour episode, but we won't schedule it to a Monday morning upload because we have to do the race review of the Pepsi Firecracker 400 at Daytona first, and then Monday we're gonna upload a college farewell tour, full movie, combining every episode together as one. And then Tuesday, guess what? We get kicked out of an Applebee's in honor of my mom's birthday, and then the 28th and from that same day all the way through the 29th, it's a free-for-all. We can upload whatever we want, whatever is in store. And then August 30th through September 9th, it's going to be busy to wrap up the summer and ring in the fall. August 30th, 31st, September 1st, and 2nd and 3rd, the end of summer explosion, which will conclude with Jesselyn Monlim's Jamie McMurray, Kenny Irwin Jr. 42nd birthday, and then September 4th and 5th, the two-part 11-year YouTube special, the summer epilogue on the 4th, the fall prologue on the 5th. September 6th, we kick off Adventures in Autumn Season 4. September 7th, we're going to the Kinsmen, aka where the former household of the Coughlins, GJC Animates, to go to Haley's Dale Earnhardt Sr., Austin Dillon 3rd birthday party. September 8th, they're going to open up the Chase Fielder Cup with the Napa 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and it's looking unlikely we'll get the day off on September 9th to rest up, so at least I got a backup plan. Spend a day at work with me September 9th to September 10th and beyond. It is on from there. It's the gloves are off, Anyway, so after the whole spend a day at work thing, September 10th and beyond, the rest is history. We'll just come up with whatever, content we'll have for you for all the Adventures in Autumn. That'll include many football games or maybe some, hockey games to go with it. But we'll figure it. I know football games are coming, but we'll have to see what else we got in store for the fall besides the football games and all the projects around the house. So have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Good night. I will see you all for the next video, which will be tomorrow when we review the Pepsi Firecracker 400 Daytona before we upload the last of the college farewell tour content with Jeremy Barley's episode for Dale Jr. installment, episode 8, the season finale, and then of course the mini movie on Monday when my friends go to Dollar Tree, which we all know damn well I'm not going to because that store sucks ass and they have little to nothing there in terms of anything good or interesting. So see you later, everyone.
107.3 The Way.
This copyrighted broadcast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the NBA.